Okay, I'm here live, still awake. Haven't been asleep yet. I'm Brother Francis Revels-Bey. I'm the original podcast host for Clear Blue Radiance on the YouTube channel for Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. And look who's here. Hi there, Golden Timeline. How you doing? I was as I said, I had been up early preparing to do an interview today, and this interview was being given to an acupuncturist out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that participates in a lot of our um, monthly psychic fairs. And his name is Dr. Andrew Moser. And a little excited and tired at the same time. um, this has been one of those uh, energetic days where a lot was flushed out all at once. And I had this opportunity to be able to interview this fellow because I was supposed to have really interviewed him back in November, but I got tied up with a lot of things and it worked out. And he's very much, I would say, spiritually inclined because he chose today. And I never asked him what his birthday was. That would be very interesting. But if you are on Facebook and befriend me on Facebook, you would go to my personal page and you will see it, the interview there. We almost went about an hour. He's very knowledgeable. He talks just as much as I do, so I let him talk. And we had a blast. He gave a lot of information about uh, how he got into this. This guy holds two master's degrees, which I was unaware of. He's a gardener since being a child, a younger man. Uh, he's into gardening, and of course, he's into uh, being a doctor of Chinese medicine, specifically with acupuncture. And here in Albuquerque, he shares an office with, I think he said, two other acupuncturists. And he just had a wealth of information. I was able to interact and rediscovered that the body had 12 meridians and 365 points on the body, which kind of reminds you of the 12 months in the year and the 365 days. He explained the five elements and which how those elements govern the four seasons and in general the organs. And I got him to talk about ear acupuncture, which is a more definitive term. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I won't say it, but the human ear is shaped like a fetus upside down. And so one could use the various needles to be able to activate, maintain, unblock chi throughout the body. So I found this to be very exciting. Hey there, Holly, how you doing? Yes, yes. And so, right, with Jupiter zodiacal cycle. So there was a lot of fun in getting information from him, and he kept it as light as possible. But if you listen very careful, he's like teaching you the whole time, and I really enjoyed that. He's always at our psychic fairs, usually that we do every second Sunday out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics, and I sit right next to him in the back room. So I need to get one of those ear acupuncture sessions. Um, he has a very good price, saying that he charges per hour. To most people, it might be a lot, but he is well grounded. He's a humble young man. He's also, I feel, very intuitive and empathic in his own way, and he really picks up. And he picks up on people and their energy and environments. But I also feel that Dr. Andrew Moser is really in tune with the surrounding energy. And you can tell he's someone that gives a great deal of thought before he speaks. So we had some fun. He was the first person that I interviewed this year, had a chance to interview this year for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. And I was trying to put it live from my Zoom account into my YouTube channel. But once I got it in there, I was testing it out. I couldn't see how it was going to come out, how I was going to get him to be on the same page. So I just put it through uh, my personal timeline on Facebook. So today I wanted to talk about uh, and also say thank you to everybody that's on here. Golden Timeline 711, Holly Hemmett. I know that Indigo Moon is in here. We might have also uh, Jackie Fillmore may come through. Uh, we might have Linda Garcia may pop through. We might have Jen Merriman may pop through today. And so many others of you who support Samaria Woods might also come through today. So, one of the unique things is that today's date is the 1212 Gateway. You know, a lot of significance over the years has been given to these double digits numbers repeating themselves as gateways. And one of the things as a numerologist and metaphysical individual and spiritual person and a meditator, I always want people to keep in mind that sometimes when we just mention it's a 1212 gateway, we aren't paying attention inside what year is that. Because each year, universal year, is going to dictate how the 1212 gateway is going to operate in some manner. And so that's highly important to keep in mind. And also what the two numbers add to. Now, I didn't add them, but if you multiply them like the mathematical procedure of multiplication, and we were taught how to multiply numbers by themselves from 1 to 12, that was the table, right? And if you did 12, 12, 12 times 12, you became aware of a significant number. So I'm not going to overwhelm this with a lot of numerology, but these are some things that I'm pointing out today so that we become aware. And the reason why I say that because 1212 in 2024 was different from 1212 in 2023, which was different from 1212 in 2022, 2021, and so on and so forth as you go down the line. So, and it was also different 1212 in 1999. So, we sometimes should be aware of the year in which these gateways are falling into place. Also, which I didn't have time because I was trying to prepare for the interview with him today, um, these numbers will change under completely different culture. under a completely different calendar system, the 1212 may not be of significance, depending on a whole range of situations, whole nations, how they will see these calendar dates. These calendar dates may not be that significant. They might just look at the overall year or the series of decades that come together, and they might work with that. Just like Chinese astrology, right? Every 12 years, a Pacific sign governs. And then you're looking, let's say, the year of the dragon, okay? The year of the dragon. So I believe, a water dragon under the year 1952 coming up in the month of March, where one of my nieces, my younger niece, she's a dragon, but I think she's a fire dragon, and because she's born in September, in the time frame that she's born, and the unique thing is we share the same numerical birthday number. I'm a March 16th, and she's a Virgo 16th, and Pisces and Virgo are opposite each other, but fun-loving mutable signs, and so I find that unique in that pattern. So we're looking at how these numbers fall into this Gregorian calendar system that millions of people, billions of people, centuries, and civilizations accepted in the Western world as the calendar, right? But like I said, in other nations, tribes, and countries, this may not have any significance to the people of those different regions in those different time zones. But we give it a lot of energy. And so I just want everyone to be aware of that. I mean, what has happened because of world leadership and things of those natures from country to country, and USA was supposed to be out there, one of the top and the best, right? Being the savior in the world, so to speak. Everybody went by the Gregorian calendar, but there are other calendar systems. Imagine if we're living in the UK, we might be using the Gregorian, but the UK, I can guarantee, has its own calendar system. People that live in the UK got their own calendar system. People in Ireland, Dublin, over there, Ireland and Scotland and Wales and all those places, I'm quite sure they're under a different calendar system. People in Asian countries, whether it's Indonesia, Malaysia, China, Japan, Korea, North and South Korea, they have their concept of what is the calendar system. Then transfer that to people in Akibulan, over there known as Africa now. Throughout that entire landmass, they have their own calendar system. When everybody's, trying to keep up with the West, everybody adapts to Gregorian, but that's not necessarily how their life is actually being governed. So we have to, pay attention to these things. Just like we pay attention if we get on a plane and travel somewhere and wind up getting jet lag across the United States. That's not counting being on a plane for 20 hours going in the air, going to somebody else across the Atlantic or across the Pacific just to see something, visit something, be with some friends, make new friends, be in a mode where we're in an educational academic society. So things change, and we have to be aware of that. And another side of this is my ancestors and my good friends, beloved and Akhenaten and Nefertiti, are saying that as a being that is metaphysical and spiritual and also magical, which is our divinity, our divine side, these things don't govern us. Because the higher your consciousness goes, the more you're free of man made rules, regulations, and teachings, and educational things and medicinal things. You don't have to fly by that. You can fly by what is closest to nature. right? What is closest to nature? Just like my guest was saying, he has an affinity for the earth because he learned as a child how important gardening is. And he says throughout the home that he's living in now, he's got plants all over the place, from the front door to the back door, side door, and through the house. He's got plants. And for him to have plants around himself gives him peace, which makes sense. So here I am in my complex. I don't have room to have plants in here because I would be inviting the ant kingdom in and the bee kingdom and every other kingdom in here. So I don't put plants in here. However, I will leave out in the open sage wands. Some I like, others I just leave out. Why? Because I can catch the scent. And sage is dry and it fits this climate out here in the Southwest, which is dry all year round. And so to be able to smell the sage, I have Indian incense, Indian incense sticks out, and I can smell them rolling in and throughout. I have sometimes I keep scented candle lids open. I don't even light the candles because it has the chemical in there with that paraffin wax. So sometimes I just uncap the jar where the candle is and catch that scent. But to say this is we're not going to be ruled over by too many things. One of the things about understanding this number, is that when we see it back to back like this, it speaks of not just a gateway, but double digit master numbers. 1212 is 1122. So we had two gateways in November. We had 1111 and what? 1122. 1122 hinted at 1212, you see. And so these numbers speak to us in different ways. So getting back to, and I call the master numbers, I refer to them as master keys. And I refer to them as master keys because each number is a key in itself. And the numbers revolve around us and through us. That says that we are the main key or locksmith with these keys of expressing our divinity and our way of thinking, the way we carry ourselves. So this number 12 is a part of a base 12 system. And if you remember as a child, you were taught to multiply the numbers one in each column by itself from 1 to 12, which also meant that you can go straight down the line. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 12 and then carry it out to 12, right? 12 rows down, 12 rows across. And you could start multiplying all over the place and come up with even more numbers. But even from the most simplistic way, 12 times 12 equals 144, or 12 squared is 144. When we reduce those three digits into a single digit, you can go 1 plus 4, that's a 9. You can say 14 plus 4, that's 18, and 1 plus 8 is a 9. Or you can go 1 plus 44. You got the master number 44 there. 1 plus 44 gives you the number 45, and 4 plus 5 is 9. So you see the 9 being there in the basis of this 12 gate. The 9 is in there. There's some other things happening too. 9 is usually the number of completions, preparing to embark from an old cycle to a new cycle, seeing new vistas and horizons, accomplishing higher goals as we live with greater standards. And standard staff is like a standard. That rod on the end of a with a banner and a flag, that's a standard. So the length of the standard determines the height of the person, you see. And unless you know how you're going, the standard is also your spine, which I mentioned in one of my other classes with my other students when we studied the selenite gemstone, and we discovered that we have an organic, we carry an organic obelisk, and that obelisk is our spine. And so we have to be aware of these little hints. The more we can pay attention to them, the more we'll be ahead. So, taking some information from my own book here, just to further put a stamp on the number nine. Now, this 1212, if you add it, you get 24, which is six. That has a number too. Six is a Venus that rules Taurus and Libra. So people under the sun sign or moon sign, Taurus and Libra, would be impacted by the 1212 as well. But you got the one in there and you got the two in there. And you got the 12, right? And one plus two is three. And that's the Jupiter effect that mainly is ruling Sagittarius and a minor ruler to Pisces. Okay. And then you've got, again, the one, which is a Leo vibration, the two, which is a lunar moon vibration for Cancer. All these things add up. And so everybody, in one sense or another, can be affected by the 1212 gateway. I would think that it's a reminder to be on alert for swift changes or very slow changes in your life. The number nine as a birthday number is a natural warrior, a good humanitarian, and symbolizes all the other numbers from 1 to 8. So that means the numbers on the outside: 1 plus 8 is 9, 2 plus 7 is 9, 3 plus 6 is 9, 4 plus 5 is 9. And so these numbers are right there, and they can be looked at and utilized in very unique manners. This nine vibration that we're carrying and seeing today is a number of great competition in the world. People are trying to outdo the next person. You might find your neighbor trying to have a better garden or a better yard or shovel their snow better than you do, you know. But you don't want to live to extremes. You don't want to have a warrior type mentality because the nine vibration produces explosive tempers and highly emotional debates, yelling matches, and so forth. Nine is what a person would want. They would want to be firm and assertive in their ideas, forceful when necessary, but not belligerent. Okay, you don't want to get to a point where you got to throw hands with somebody. And nowadays, people can throw knives or pull out a gun, right? So the ability to live from a different level when you have the nine in the 1212 is very important. Living from a different level. That means you're going to raise your frequency, your vibration, so that you're not being pulled down by other individuals who might be walking on a lower frequency than yourself. And it's also about learning how to control your thoughts so you don't speak out of turn, so you don't say the wrong things to the wrong people, so you don't hurt anybody. And at the same time, you do not limit yourself because those things can happen as well. The nine vibration underneath this 1212 is asking you to become a greater leader than you are now. And if you're not leading something, then you're going to look forward to be a leader. Why? Because 2025 adds to what? A 27, which is using the water element of the two, the Cancerian, the seven, and Neptune, which is Pisces. 27, 2 plus 7 is 9. And so it's going to be a lot of fire energy being produced next year. And people are going to have to be on alert so you don't do the wrong thing at the wrong time. Okay, and pay attention to nature. Nine vibration now and going next year is about a team effort, not an individual. Nines have to learn to overcome different states of immaturity with themselves. And if they feel that they're more mature than the next person, they have to put their ego in check. That's going to be very, very important. One of the other things about this nine is, I always say, reach for the impossible. That way, you're sure to pick up all the possibilities. I'll say that again. Reach for the impossible. That way, you are sure to pick up all of the possibilities. And I mean, everything that's coming to you upon your path. It is an opportunity to receive and embrace that which is possible, but also known as uncommon possibilities. Those are things that people can't take from you because they're more like invisible status. Also, another thing about the nine is that people uh, can't steal your dreams. And if they try to steal your dreams, actually, they're going to enhance your dreams because they're going to try to copy you. That's the thing. I put out a little blurb on TikTok a couple of days ago because my ancestors have been pushing me to get off TikTok, to get off TikTok, to get off TikTok as far back as last year, around September. Get off of TikTok. And I'm always moving slow, move like a big tortoise, really slow, or more like a sloth. I ain't in a big move to get something done because I always feel I have more time than most people would have. Things seem to like kind of flow for me when I'm moving really slow. So my ancestors came to me in a dream, says, you must go and close your account, deactivate and delete your account on TikTok by December 31st, 2024. And people were asking me, well, does this have to do with TikTok being sued or being, blocked from? No, it had nothing to do with that. What I was kind of getting tired of was these people that are constantly approaching me in my DM, right, direct message box, and they all say the same thing, which makes me think they all are on the same team. And here's the message that they would always say: um, two different ways. My ancestors, meaning theirs, their ancestors came to them and told them that I need to hear a word from them. I need to get a reading from them. That's one. The other way, they'll say, my ancestors, Brother Francis' ancestors, sought them out and told them I need a reading. Well, both of that is hogwash. First of all, your ancestors are not going to somebody else's ancestors to tell that person to come give you a reading. All that basically says is somebody's looking for clicks, somebody's looking for a little bit of status, someone's looking to read somebody and get paid. And those people that are on there, some are good and some of them are very terrible. Some of them use a mismatch of everybody else's stuff when they talk about the 1212 gateway. But if you get them one on one and ask them some particular questions, how the 1212 actually works for you on a deeper level, they can't tell you. They're just going to regurgitate what they heard somebody else say. So that's one of the reasons I'm getting off. And also sometimes you got people that are constantly on there pushing your business. And I tell them I'm not pushing any business. Occasionally I mention this book or the book back there or some other books and that you can go get them on Amazon. Other than that, I'm not pushing the book. I'm not even charging for tidbit information on numerology, dreams, tarot, how to walk out of your body, uh, astral traveling, soul travel. I'm not charging. I just give out little 5, 10, 15, 20 minute clips of information, and that's it. But lately, I haven't been on that much, and everybody says, "Where you been?" I say, "Time to go, man. Time to go." And so I say all of this because, yeah, charlatans, people just trying to think they want to show off, but they don't use it for themselves to help, really help somebody. So, anyway, getting back to this nine, the downside of a nine is being too bossy. lacks manners. That means being very abrupt or rigid in conversation or actions with others. Lacks humor, becomes moody, often is too sarcastic or too critical of other people, and they hold on to grudges for long periods of time. They often can become closed minded, selfish, egotistical, and have some difficult issues with their own thoughts and feelings about how their life is going. Sometimes they refuse to work on themselves because they feel they know everything. You know, so if you're experiencing this 12-12 today, one of the things you should pay attention, since there's a 9 underneath that, one of the things is be careful working with sharp tools, acid, fumes, chemicals. Wear some rubber gloves, especially if you're in the kitchen. Be careful. Cutting knives can be extra sharp. Sharp. Be careful with a hot stove, whether it's a gas stove or electrical stove. Where the burners and the rings are. Be careful. Be careful cooking. You might have grease spilled on your feet or whatever, and fires can break out. So be very careful in that respect, because these things are functioning. These things are out there. Now, also, I wanted to mention that the universal year that these gates come in is very important. The universal gate that these universal gateways are in. So 1111 is 2024, right? 20 on the, I'll do it this way, on the left side of the screen, you split 20, the 0 to the 2, 2024. Well, you got a 6 sitting out to the right, and to the left, you have a 2 or a 20/2. And that 20 is a governor. That represents that rebirth will happen, transformation will happen. Also, transcendence can happen. Okay. But people have to, again, raise their level of consciousness to understand it and raise their physical frequency so they can embrace it to receive it and use it as a catapult so they can be pushed out into something better. This is also the time frame, I feel, that people need to start studying and putting into motion different timelines. You can jump in and out of different timelines. You could get information and material from different timelines that would save you a lot of headache that's going to come up this year that you don't need to be affected by. So you might want to look into what a timeline is and how to jump the timeline. Timeline is that energy, like the toroidal field around you, and you're in the middle, and it moves around you like a carousel, up and down and around. And so you want to be able to tune in to better timelines, get to know those timelines, who you are and what you have achieved in those timelines, especially what you have achieved, and bring that information that you learned about yourself in these other timelines into right now. Make them overlap, make them bleed into this one so that you can interact with your higher self that's moving and knitting all of these life streams together for you. This is very important. Now, here was another thing that came to mind when I took the single digit 9 out of 144. And then I turned around and added it back into the 12 plus 12. That gave me 24 plus 9 gave me 33. So there was a hidden 33 master number sitting in there. And that hidden master number represents the master of creativity, mastering one's personal emotions and ability to explore, remain conscious of one's identity in the midst of something greater that is happening around themselves. Now, this is very important, and I should touch upon. Let's see what I wrote down in the my own book here about master numbers, especially the 33. And this is, significant because we don't want to leave anything out. So in my book, I gave a brief analysis, but it's potent enough. 33, master number 33 is compassion, unconditional love, great understanding to hold and teach higher wisdom. As you pronounce the number, you are saying 30, comma, 3. When you see this number, you are reminded that you have the power to attract benefactors, teachers, and helpers into your life. You have the potential to bring the spiritual realm into the material realm by way of visualization, spoken and written word. You can change your life through the power of dynamic breath work. This is very, very important. Now, we always ask to breathe. You go outside, depending on what city you live in, might be a lot of smog out there. Now I see why elders are wearing masks. Not so much about the germs, dust swirling in the air, crushed glass particles, carbon in the air, smoke, cigars, cigarettes, you name it. All of that stuff's in the air. And then you got dander from out here. We have dander, skin dander from horses. People have a lot of them. They ride them in the morning around in certain areas. Get that ride. Because they want to feel like the cowboy frontier person. And then you got cat dander. You got hair from dogs, long hair, short hair, and so on and so forth. And you tracking that stuff in and around through the apartment complex, your home, your residence. And then if you were living out here, there's something called cottonwood trees, and it looks like little cotton spores, and they float around as the wind picks up. You can be tracking that into your home as well. So we have to pay attention to these little nuances, these little key messages that are coming forward, because you're wanting to know, you're wanting to receive, and you're wanting to benefit from it all, right? So if you lived like I live, the minute you hit the door, you got to take off your shoes. If not, you track it all in the rug. And once it in, dog and cat hair is magnetic, right? So once it lands in something, it sticks. Imagine more of it coming in and more of it sticking and sticking and sticking into your carpet or up and down a hallway or on your clothes. You decide that you're just going to lay down and go to sleep, and then you got dog and cat hair all on your stuff. Now, I'm not saying kill the cat. I'm not about that. Cats are sweet at times. Dogs are sweet. Both of them can get along if they're raised around each other. But here's the bottom line: dander is dander. And that stuff can get into your lungs and make it very difficult for you to breathe. So we have to be aware that the master number 33 is going to take you to a greater height, because that's what you're looking to do. You're looking to achieve. All right. And you're going to get there. Like I said, breath work is important. And so when we have inhale and exhale, that little gap in between is where one reaches into the heart of the creator. The mind of the creator can hear the words or wisdom and understanding from the creator, because it's that gap that's in there. And we have it too. You inhale, then you switch over, and you have it for a millionth of a second. But it's there for you to capitalize on and utilize. Now, as I said before, you got the universal year number, and that adds to 8. 22 plus 8, excuse me, 22 plus 4, right? So you have the 22 and 4, that's 8. Or 2 plus 0 is 2 plus 24 is 26. 2 plus 6, that's 8. Okay, so there's a lot of different ways. 22 plus 4, 2 plus 2 plus 4. It's right there. That entire year is about overcoming restrictions and limitations of all forms, whether it's high government to low government, whether it's your neighborhood, your community, the state you're in, the county you're in, the country you're in. But how about the family, the neighborhood where you live? Are you experiencing any forms of restrictions and limitations in those areas? That number 8 is like a Saturn influence that rules over Capricorn. Sometimes it can cause you to be competitive. You can come across as an authoritarian or an expert, on something that you know about it and you know it inside and out. No one can trick you on it. That 8 is there for a reason. That 8 is governing a whole lot of people. It's like a big umbrella. So people come underneath that 8, that 26-8, which is governing them. Now they can look at the birth month plus the birth year plus whatever else they need to look at. Now they will understand they got to create balance. They have to connect with the earth and be more practical minded. They have to be able to connect with their ancestors. That's very important. Someone would tell me, I don't know how to connect with my ancestors. And I was telling them, just like you talking to me, you just have to keep talking, 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 and your vibration breaks through the membrane. And now they can see you, they can hear you, they can begin to communicate from the other side of the veil with you. All of this is important. We want to keep growing, we want to keep prospering abundantly for ourselves. And yes, there's always going to be somebody that's going to take your soup, take your cookies off the plate, you name it, because a lot of these creators aren't original. And now that they have AI apps out there for people who can be spiritual, it doesn't have the same flavor to it. When you make a soup and it's homemade soup, it has that right consistency. It has the flavor through and out, as opposed to a soup coming out of a can. So, you want to pay attention to how something is being presented to you, and be very careful not to give up any private information about yourself, loved ones, children, pets in the house, you name it. There's people who are trying to capitalize on your identity, which they do that creates a whole nother ball game from you, and you have to spend time doing your best to straighten it out. So that's my message for today. It looks like I'm tired. I am. I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning, fiddling and faddling around here, trying to get prepared for Dr. Moser today and try to make sure I had everything set up properly. Well, until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Take care of yourselves, do right by you, which is highly important. And those of you who have family members, do right by them and teach them to be more consistent, and they will have greater strength for themselves to overcome any kind of opposition. They can probably even learn how to raise their vibration where others can't see them, but they walk right past them. There's all kind of techniques. All right. Well, I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening today. I'm ready to go to sleep or do something. Um, yeah, thank you for the comments. Golden timeline 711. Yes, when the cosmos is communicating, knocks on the doors, knocks on the wall, um, because wherever we are, it's expanding into parts of regions where they are, and they expand on a far greater level than we do. So we want to pay more attention to what is around us and how things are flowing in our direction. And you don't have to accept anything unless you gave it a yes. So if they didn't get a yes from you, they have no business uh, tinkering and tankering with your information. Sometimes we can't protect everything, but we sure can put ourselves in greater position where we can say, "Hey, I know what you're doing. I may not look like I know what to do now, but in a couple of months, you can claim it. A couple of days, you can claim it. That whatever those people are doing will not prosper against you. They will not feed off of what you are doing. So just want to say my grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. Don't forget to email me. Sometimes I miss your text messages, okay? Email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. Check out Resident Essentials, which is now Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. There's a lot of information in there. She's Michelle is very good at teaching all these metaphysical tools, spiritual tools, and many more things. She's been doing it for a long time, like I have. If you ever get out here to Albuquerque, look us up. If you want to join a virtual course or class, you can check with her on that as well. I'll be teaching Radiant Heart starting for 13 weeks consecutively, starting Wednesday, March the 4th, and then starting a little earlier in February on Wednesday, February the 5th. There's a 13-week course on the key to life is numerology. Thank you for your time. It's time for me to conk out and get some rest and find something else to do before I miss another day. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me. And let me put today's topic in here just in case. All right.